Good day everyone. Today we will discuss the managerial decisions. Chapter number 11. Managerial decisions in competitive markets. Number 1. Discuss fully what a market structure is. Cite example. A market structure shows the relationship between sellers, other sellers, sellers to buyers, or more. It is a firm or industry that are classified and differentiated based on competition among businesses in the same industry. Market structure defined by three characteristics. The first one is the number of firms in the market. It tells us that markets have firms and industries, which is they are competing against each other, while others have a few, or some instances, just one firm providing a product or service. The next characteristics of market structure is the ease of entry and exit of firms. This tells us that any firm can actually join, or there are some barriers to entry. Example is large extent in garments in the form of regulations, or the governments might choose to restrict the number of producing of a perfect particular product or service. And lastly, degree of production differentiation. It only tells us the uniqueness of a product you're offering in a market. And also, market structure can be grouped into 4 categories, which is perfect competition, which has a homogeneous product with a large number of buyer and seller. The next one is monopoly. Monopoly has a unique product with one seller, and monopolistic competition has a product and services that are similar to many firms but they are not perfectly substitute. And lastly, oligopoly has a small group of large sellers with an identical or differentiated products. Let's proceed to question number 2. Explain the following characteristics of perfect competition. 2.1 Price taking. In a perfect competition firms, a price taker, each firm must take the price set by the market. So it means that they have no control of the prices, they have lack of market power to influence the price of goods and services. If a firm in a perfectly competitive market raises the price of its product, it will lose all of its sales to competitors. It means that you cannot easily change the price of your product because buyers will not buy, so you will easily lose your buyers and sales. Next is 2.2 Production of a homogeneous or perfectly standardized product. A homogeneous product is one that cannot be distinguished from competing products from different suppliers. This perfect competition is considered theoretical because nothing in the market can be completely perfect or modulus. However, it is useful because it functions as a standard to measure the efficiency and effectiveness of real-world markets, because all companies sell an identical product. So, if the price of your product will rise, buyers will definitely look for a seller who have the lowest price. So you will lose your sales because they will not buy to you. Last one is 3.3 Barriers to entry and exit. There are no barriers to entry or exit from the market firms because firms can enter and exit anytime in the market without cost. Such controls do not exist in a perfectly competitive market. The entry and exit of firms in such a market are unregulated, and this frees them up to spend on labor and capital assets without restrictions and adjust their output in relation to market demands. It means that in a perfect competition, the entry and exit of the firms does not have regulations or restrictions because they are free to spend their capital assets based on the market demands. Let's proceed to question number 3. How is price of a product or service determined under perfect competition? Briefly describe the demand curve of a perfectly competitive firm. If we assume that in perfect competition, the selling price as determined by the market, the selling price would be the equilibrium price, the price determined by the intersection of the market demand and market supply curves. Looking at the demand curve in the second graph, the selling price is given to them at a certain level dictated by the market. The demand curve of this producer and all other individual producers is shown as a horizontal line, which is the selling price as determined by the market. So, why the business will not sell at a higher price? It is because no one will buy at a higher price because all buyers know what the market price is. And another question is, and why not try to sell at a lower price? Consumers surely always love buy at a lower price. Well, if a business can sell everything it makes out the market, there's no reason why it should sell at a lower price. So, at a perfect competition, the seller cannot sell its goods at a price higher than the market price and will not sell the price lower than the market price. That's why the demand curve is in the horizontal curve. And question number 4. What is the profit maximizing output level of a perfectly competitive firm in the short run? In order to maximize profits in a perfectly competitive market, firms set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, or MR equals MC. MR is the slope of the revenue curve, which is also equal to the demand curve, or D, and price, or P. In the short term, it is possible for economic profits to be positive, zero, or negative. When price is greater than average total cost, the firm is making a profit. When price is less than average total cost, the firm is making a loss in the market. In short, in the short run, it is possible for an individual firm to make an economic profit. This scenario is shown in this diagram as the price or average revenue denoted by price or P is the above the average cost denoted by C. Let's proceed to question number 5. From our textbook, answer comprehensively item number 3 of applied problems on page 441, example, All City Realtors. The manager of All City Realtors wants to hire some real estate agents to specialize in selling housing units acquired by the Resolution Trust Corporation, or RTC, in its attempt to bail out the savings and loan industry. The commission paid the RTC to the company to sell these homes is a flat rate of $2,000 per unit sold, rather than the customary commission that is based on the sale price of a home. The manager estimates the following marginal product schedule for real estate agents dealing in government-owned housing. Let's answer letter A. Construct the marginal revenue product schedule by filling in the blanks in the table. Number of real estate agents is 1 to 6. Marginal product number of additional units sold per year is, in number 1 is 20, number 2 is 17, number 3 is 15, number 4 is 12, number 5 is 8, and number 6 is 4. The marginal revenue product of 20 is 40,000, the marginal revenue product of 17 is 34,000, 15 is 30,000, 12 is 24,000, 8 is 16,000, and 4 is 8,000. Answer letter B. If the manager of All City Realtors must pay a wage rate of $32,000 per year to get the agent who will specialize in selling RTC housing, how many agents should the manager hire and why? As you can see in my answer, MRP equals W, or wage. MRP then is equals to P times MP, or marginal product. The marginal revenue product equals 2,000 times 16 equals $32,000 So, the manager should hire 3 or 3.5 workers as the MRP at 16 MP would be $32. Let's answer letter C. If the wage rate falls to $18,000 per year, how many agents should the manager hire? MRP equals P times MP. MRP equals 2,000 times 9 equals $18,000. So, the manager should hire 5 workers. Let's proceed to letter D. Suppose the RTC rises its commission to $3,000 per unit sold. Now, what is the marginal revenue product for each real estate agents employed? So, MRP equals price product solid at times MP. MRP equals 3,000 times MP. And last letter is letter E. Now that the RTC is paying $3,000 per unit sold, how many agents should the manager hire if the wage rate is $30,000? MRP equals W or wage. So MRP equals P times MP. MRP equals 3,000 times 10 is equals to 30,000. So the manager should hire 4 agents. Let's proceed to chapter 12, Managerial Decisions for Firms with Market Power. Question number 1. Discuss fully the concept of market power in the context of market structure. Market power more commonly in oligopolies and monopolies. It is the ability of a firm or group of firms to raise and maintain price above the level that would prevail under competition is referred to as market. Market imperfections arise when the market structure departs from perfect competition. It means that market power has the power to raise the price above the perfectly competitive level, unlike imperfectly competitive that they have a stable price or services. And question number 2, discuss fully the following characteristics of a monopoly. 2.1 Single seller or producer. Single seller or producer in pure monopolistic market structure, there is only one seller or producer of a certain good. A single producer or seller represents the entire industry, but there are a large number of buyers. Consequently, no buyer can influence the price, but seller can. It means that single seller or producer has no competition exist, and also it is a single supplier. So the monopolist can affect the price but buyer cannot. And 2.2 Unique product. A product does not have substitute available. So a monopolist achieves single seller status because the supply is unique. So it tells us that because of its uniqueness, the product cannot have any substitute. Proceed to 2.3 Impossible entry. There are some barriers or restrictions on the entry of other firms into market. Some of the barriers to entry are government license, patents, copyright, etc. So due to these barriers or restrictions, monopolists generally maintains single seller status. Proceed to question number 3. What is meant by economies of scale? Cite an example. Economies of scale is about increasing the size of a business to make cost savings. There are inverse relationship between per unit fixed cost and the quantity produced. For example, if the quantity of output produced increases, the per unit fixed cost will decrease, and the average variable cost will also decrease. The increase in the scale of production results in a greater operational efficiencies and synergies. Then let's proceed to question number 4. Discuss fully the following characteristics of a monopolistic competition. 4.1 Many sellers. In a monopolistic competition, many sellers offer differentiated products that are similar but not identical, but serve similar purposes. The size of each firm is small, therefore no individual firm can influence market price. Hence, each firm follows an independent price output policy. It means that it assumes that any price output policy of a firm will not get reaction from other firms. That means even firm follows the independent price policy. And then 4.2, differentiated products. The firm produce goods which are differentiated. First, not identical, and second, it use various methods to differentiate their product from other sellers to create preference among buyers. Basically, the products of different firms are not altogether different. They are slightly different from others. Real differences like design, materials used, skill, advertising, trademark, and so on. 4.3, easy market entry and exit. The entry and exit are unrestricted to enter the industry. Another one, firm may enter the industry with close substitute to the existing brand. Like perfect competition, under monopolistic competition, firms can enter and exit freely also. Proceed to question number 6. Relatively to question number 5, make a research on how said companies set and determine the price and output. Example, units of production of their vaccines respectively. What strategies do they employ to be able to compete in the market?